Hey besties, welcome in. It's me, Sabrina, and it is time to get lit. That's right, it's Friday Night Lit, and we have quite the number of books to talk about tonight. But first, we're going to make our drink. So let me fill my glass up with some ice and come back. And tonight, we are going to make a Shirley Temple. All right, this is my new series where we just sit and we talk like besties about the books that I read the last couple of weeks. So first we have some ginger ale. By the way, ginger ale, Canada Dry, the only way to do this. Don't come to me with any other kind of ginger ale. So this week we've got to talk about An Arcane Inheritance by Kamilah. Wish You Were Here by Jodi Picoult. The Redo List by Denise Williams. Erotic Stories for Punjabi Women. Had a little grenadine in there. And When the Tides Held the Moon, which I literally just finished yesterday, and you're going to find out about that. And no Shirley Temple is complete without a maraschino cherry spilling all over your countertop. Awesome. Uno momento. I was reminded of this drink in the comments. Okay, I can't even get this out. I was reminded of this drink in the comments last week because I used to order these all the time when I was a little kid because it made me feel like I was like super fancy and very important when I was out to dinner or at like charity functions or whatever with my parents. And I would go to the bar and I would ask for a Shirley Temple. Like, I'm so cool. Look at me. I'm having alcoholic beverages without the alcohol in it. Should we do 2 cherries just because we're super cool? Okay, I can't get them out with the stems because they're like ripping off as you pull the cherry past the other cherries. We'll do a double cherry. Okay, so for those of you who it is your first time at Friday Night Lit, just a forewarning, there will be heavy plot discussion, but no like spoilers. Like I'm not going to give away everything that happens. I'm not going to tell you like what the twist or turn was of a book or give away the mystery. But there will be heavy plot discussion, so you will know some things about the book. I will put timestamps down below for each of the books when we're discussing them. So if there's one that you need to skip over or one that you need to come back to later, or there's only one that you came for, you will know exactly where to go so that nothing else gets messed up for you. Okay, so with that said, let's head over to our reading chair and let's talk about it. Yeah, that's got all the nostalgia vibes. Love it. Okay. Oh, capital. Anyway, what have you been reading the last couple of weeks? I really genuinely want to know because we're about to talk about what I've been reading for the last couple of weeks because this is a one-woman podcast. It's not a podcast, but you know what I mean. But no, I do. I want to know what you've been reading for the last couple of weeks since we last saw each other. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into my first book. I have lots to talk about tonight. So the first book tonight is Kamilah's An Arcane Inheritance. And now listen. This book came out on December 30th, and I ran to the store to pick this up because I have been like desperately wanting to read this for some time now. Now, this was sold to me as dark academia that takes place at an HBCU. Now, I'm not really sure that that's what this was. It did take place at a college. It takes place at a Ivy League college, the last college to be admitted into Ivy League status. And it is definitely built on the backs of a bunch of Black and brown people. It didn't really feel like it was an HBCU. So I'm not really sure why that was part of the marketing, because ultimately I wanted it to do more for the culture. Okay. And it also didn't really give a lot of dark. So basically what happens is we have our main girl, Ellery, and is she Puerto Rican? I think Haitian, Jamaican. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Her family is not traditionally from America. She has immigrated to the United States to have a better future, whatever, what have you. And she basically like hits a streak of bad luck and is not accepted into any of the colleges that she wants to go to. except for this one. And this one college is like, we got you, bestie. We can't wait to see you here. Now, they have some dark secrets in their past at this university. And essentially, we spend the book finding out what those are. It was rumored to have been built on the backs of a secret magical society. And this is not a world where magic is a like normal part of life. So it's truly a secret society situation. As we go throughout this, our girl ends up in I don't know if we call it a love triangle, but she has two different love interests. And one of them was like she hated him, but we didn't really get a good explanation as to why she hated him. And the other one, she like really, really wanted to like him, but like there were no sparks. And she felt bad about that. So as we go along the story, and she's basically trying to figure out like what is the real deal here at this school, we basically uncover with her what actually was the foundings, the genesis of this school. And it's dark. Like that part of it is dark, like what the actual lore is, but like the book itself just didn't give dark. if that makes sense. So a couple of things that just didn't work for me in this book. First of all, our girl, like, the red flags are crimson. They are in her face. And she's like, la-di-da. I mean, like she can't see them. Like she's colorblind. And I'm like, do we need to get you special glasses so that you can see the red flags? Or what is the problem, sweetie? Because you're missing the cues left and right. Okay. I'm not even in the story. And I can tell you this is a bad idea. At one point, she's like talking to this dude and she's like, yeah, I think like, and this is just like, this is not specifically what happened, but I'm just going to give you kind of like a comparison. She's basically like, yeah, so I mean, I think, girl, I'm about to knock my drink over. She's talking to this dude and she's basically like, yeah, so I think there are ghosts here. And the guy is like, yeah, why don't you go check out the ghosts? And she's like, yeah, for sure. He's like, I totally believe you. And she believes him. And I'm like, baby girl, no, you can't just take him for his word when he took you for your word after 2 seconds. That's not how this works. So her and the red flags, it was just like, come on, get it together. And I guess this kind of falls into like new adult category. And maybe new adults are just, they're still a little naive. But she's also not like new adult-ish, because if I remember correctly, she didn't get into school right away. This scholarship opportunity like showed up at her house after she took like a gap year, yada, yada, yada. So she's a little bit older and she ought to know better by now. There's also rampant racism in this book. And I think that was kind of like the author's point. Like this is a institution that is rooted in racism and it is harmful to BIPOC people. But the amount of racism that is on the page that we have to witness, I was like, my God, today. And Kamilah Cole is a author of color herself. So like, it's okay. But there was a lot. Okay. And, you know, why did these go out of fashion? I don't know. Why did we stop drinking Shirley Temples? First of all, the book does have really pretty sprayed edges. So A+ for that. Like I said, I wasn't getting HBCU vibes, and I really wanted to get those vibes because I really wanted that to be like, oh, look at this, you know, here's a fantasy that takes place at an HBCU. Like the Tracy Dion series, the Oathbound, that series. I love everything about that. It takes place at a PWI. And I love that our main character is a Black girl. I know Black women who went to the university that's featured in that book. So it's not that it's unbelievable, but it's a PWI. And like, I was just excited to have a fantasy, a dark academia that took place at HBCU. So that part was disappointing to me. I did, however, love that our character had like true experiences, things that like BIPOC college students truly experience. You could tell that this was written by someone who knows, who understands, not just like, oh, I did my research. Like you can tell that it's coming from a place of either personal knowledge, like firsthand knowledge, or someone that she knows, someone that she's related to, has experienced this and has been in a comfortable enough place to share this experience with her. So, you know, there were some things missing for me. There were some things that were there. And ultimately, like vibe wise, I think for the vibes, it's giving me like a 3 because it just didn't meet my expectation in terms of vibes. Having nothing to say about how well it was written, because I think it was written very well. I think it was marketed potentially a little poorly. And so my expectations were at a certain place and it just never got to that place in particular. Had I gone into this blind, which I do prefer to go into books mostly blind. So a lot of the reason why I buy a book and then don't read it for a while is because I would like to forget what it's about. I don't buy a book without knowing what it's about, but I would like to forget what it's about before I read it. So I usually go into books mostly blind. This was so highly anticipated. I bought it on release day and started reading it like 2 days later. So there's no chance that I was forgetting what this was already about. And so had I spent time and like read this in like June or July of this year, then I would have mostly forgotten what it was about. And I think that the vibes would have been higher. I think that I would have gone into it with no real expectation that was waiting to be met. So unfortunately, it is what it is. I read it 2 days after I bought it. And the vibes are giving a 3. It's a great book and I super recommend it because the immigrant, the BIPOC experience that is represented throughout the book is really, really good. Just throw the tropes out. Okay, like just put those in the trash. You don't need those. If this is your first Friday Night Lit, which it might be because this is only my second Friday Night Lit, just know that I'm not going to give the star rating of the books. If you want the star ratings of the books, that will show up in 2 other places on my channel. I have my monthly wrap-ups, and then I have at the end of every week, I do a short doing a wrap-up of all the books that I finished in the week. So this Friday Night Lit is explicitly for heavy plot discussion, unfiltered thoughts, and the vibrating. We're going to move on to our next book. Our next book is Wish You Were Here by Jodi Picoult, and this is a library copy of the book. Support your library, y'all. And so it has a glossy finish to the cover. So sorry about that. I'm going to lower the book just a little bit, maybe a little bit out of frame so it's not blinding you while I'm talking about it. Okay. This is my first Jodi Picoult, and your girl has written like 97,000 books. So it's kind of incredible that this is the first one that I'm reading from her. So in this book, our main character is, she has her life planned out to the T. She's like, I'm going to get married by this age, and then I'm going to have 2.5 kids, and we're going to buy a house in the suburbs, and this is exactly where my career is going to go. And she has this like regimented, like I'm pretty sure she has a life spreadsheet. Okay, everything is going to plan. Everything is going according to her plan. Very nice, very lovely. Wonderful. And her boyfriend are supposed to be going on this trip. And she's just 100% certain that she's getting proposed to on this trip to the Galapagos. Okay. Her boyfriend's a doctor. That's very important to know. And just as she is about to like go home and pack for her trip so she can catch this flight, honey, she fucks up at her job. And she's like, okay, it's cool. It's going to be fine. I'm going to go on this little trip. I'm going to get engaged. I'm going to put my career back on track when we get back from the Galapagos. And I mean, I'm here for every single second of this. So she gets home and her boyfriend and her are talking and she's like excited, like we're going on this trip. It's going to be fine. And he's like, I just think you should go to the Galapagos without me. And she's like, excuse me. And he's like, well, there's the pandemic. And this is like right when the pandemic started. So he's a doctor. They're in New York City. Y'all know how that went down. Y'all know how COVID went down. So he's like, I just feel like it would be a better idea for you to go without me. You'll be safer. I won't have to be worried about you. I won't have to be worried about bringing home this disease to you because I'm working in the ER. Okay. And she's like, okay. She just got on the plane and went. And while she's in the Galapagos, she is kind of like coming to realize that she doesn't think her life is actually going the way that she wanted it to go. Like she thought it was. She thought she was on track. She thought her spreadsheet, she was checking off all the boxes. But realistically, it kind of wasn't. And then for some reason, even though her dumb bunny self is the one that got on the plane and went to the Galapagos alone, she's mad at her boo for telling her to go. She's like, how dare you tell me to go without you? Girl, listen, I was reading this book and I was like, I don't know whose side to be on. Am I on her side? Because like, how dare he tell you to go? Or am I kind of like, why would you get on that plane? You're supposed to stick out with your man. That's your man. It's like, how are you going to leave him? And then 60% of the way through the book, like I shit you not, because when I put it into Goodreads, it said I was at 59% of the book. So 60% of the way through the book, there is a twist. And first of all, I did not know there was going to be a twist because it is not advertised, okay? There's no advertisement about this twist. This twist came out of effing nowhere. And I was like, come again? Because the twist changes everything. And you're like, there's literally no way. But there is a way, apparently. So there's a twist. And I'm being honest with you, I got so mad. I put the book down and went to bed. I was like, I cannot do it with you, Jodi. I put the book down. I went to bed. I had to think about it because I was like, I was telling my husband, I was like, can you believe what happened? And I had to like break it all down for him. And he was like, and I was like, so fortunately for me, I picked the book back up the next day and I continued reading. And it was just like every single page I was turning the page like, excuse me, why would this, why, how, why? Explain it to me, Jodi. This book is wild, okay? I was just so caught unawares and just like mind blown by that. I was like, there's no way that this is what is happening in this book. So first of all, I am so glad this book was recommended to me in the comments and I saw it at the library like maybe the next week or 2 weeks after the recommendation came in. And I was like, I'm gonna pick her up because why not? Why not start my Jodi Picoult journey here? I have seen the movie My Sister's Keeper, but I've not read the book. Picked her up from the library. I also picked up like 5 other books at the library. I'm in the middle of one of them right now, and they're all due back tomorrow. So I decided this would be my first of the library reads, and I have zero regrets because this was so freaking good. I can't wait to read more Jodi Picoult now. I'm like, what book is next? Now listen, I have one of her books on my 26 and 26, so it's probably got to be that one, right? Like I shouldn't be reading any other Jodi books until I read that one. It's Mad Honey. Wish You Were Here. Girl, excuse me. Like you guys, I need you guys to go read this book so we can chat about it because excuse me, what do you mean? Like that is the only reaction that I have without telling you any more about like what the twist is or how like, you know, what is impacted by the, like, no, what do you mean, Jodi? Now, that being said, Jodi Picoult can write a book. And I mean, you know, like I said, she's written about 1 million books. So I guess she does know how to tell a story. Like that has been proven. The vibes on this book were so high. The vibes, this book was vibing. I'm hitting this one with like a 4, like a 4.5. Like if I didn't get mad, if I didn't get mad at the twist at first, I would hit it with a 5, but we're giving it a 4.5. 4.5 hearts for the vibes. I mean, truly, truly something spectacular. This was a good damn time. My hat's off to you, Jodi. I apologize for not having read any of your work sooner, okay? It's just where we're at, baby girl. Let's talk about our next book. Okay, I read an arc called The Redo List by Denise Williams. This comes out on January 27th, so it is not out just yet. But when it comes out, you are going to run, not walk, but run to go pick this up because it is like so good for a Valentine's Day read. Okay, let me tell you, this is a romance book, okay? In this book, our characters, the main character, she goes through a breakup, like first page, she has a breakup. It goes viral because she basically threw a tanty and she's now embarrassed about her life. She decides she's going to fly home to her little town or whatever. I want to call it Podunk, but I think they're in like Des Moines, Iowa. So it's not Podunk, but you know, she flies home to her little town to go dog sit for her brother who is deployed. And her brother tells his bestie, who is like medically discharged from their unit, to go keep an eye on his sister because she's having a hard time. I bet you can guess where this is going, right? Because, oh my gosh, Willow and Deacon are our characters. And let me just tell you, the yearning in this book, I felt like I was in this relationship with them. We all go together now. I was like, I'm yearning too. Like, when are we gonna when are we going to get this party off the ground? So it's my brother's best friend and it's my best friend's little sister. There's like a 10-year age gap, which doesn't really play a big role in their story. But what does play a big role in the story is our guy is kind of like helping her get over her breakup. And obviously she's off limits. Like that's the one thing. He is essentially a womanizer and the brother is like, basically like touch her and die, right? And so he's like, I can't hook up with her because that's my boy's sister. And she's like, I can't hook up with him. That's my brother's best friend. You guys, please, we all know that you're going to hook up. So like, let's just cut to the chase, right? But along the way, there's like so many cute little moments interspersed with the way that they're like yearning for each other. And every single freaking time, I thought we're like, certainly we are here. We are there. We have arrived at the moment where they're going to get it on. Something happens and they don't. The restraint that this man has is out of this world. I mean, he's in the military, so I guess he's learned it somewhere. But the amount of times I have gotten to like the end of a chapter where I was absolutely sure they were going to be buck naked on top of each other, and then they weren't, I was like, sometimes when this happens in a book, it's like annoying. You're like, oh my God, not again. Like, okay, here comes someone knocking at the door. It wasn't like that. Like it was done so freaking well that I was like ready. I was like, flip the page, girl. Like, let's keep going. Like, okay. So, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not a huge romance reader. I do read romance. I'm not a huge romance reader. And I got this as an ARC. So I got it as a digital ARC. I'm going to be buying a shelf trophy of this romance book. Listen, would that the publisher would just send it to me. Okay. But I'm going to buy it because it was that freaking good, yo. So good. I loved everything about this. I love the relationship. I love the yearning, and they do get it on. So don't get it twisted. They do get it on and they get it on. Okay. But I love the way that the female main character had her own self-discovery journey, and so did the male main character. Like they both went through some things and they came out the other end. Denise Williams will tell you that she always writes a happily ever after. So that's not a surprise for anybody. All of her books have a HEA in them. So I just love the journey that they went on. I love the way that she wrote their love. I love the way that she wrote the yearning, and her spicy scenes were not too much. They were spicy. They were caliente, but they were not too much. They weren't like weird or like whatever. So this book, vibes were a 5, like absolute 5 on the vibes. Like yes, this book was for me. I'm so glad I got to read this early. Thank you to the publishers and to NetGalley and everybody involved in the situation for letting me read this early. But yes, vibes were impeccable. I love this. This book was so good. I cannot recommend this enough. I'm not even fronting on y'all because I got to read it for free. Like this was such a good book. Okay. And yes, her brother came home and things did not go well at first, but your girl handled herself, and that's how she got her man. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. The next book that I read, I listened to this one on audio. So the next book that I read was Erotic Stories for Punjabi Women. This was a work book club pick from like 2 months ago. And your best friend just never got to it. What can I say? I didn't get to it. Well, I'm trying to remember what I was doing. I was doing something around the house and I was like, I just need an audiobook to put on. And I didn't want to get into the middle of a long, like 25-minute audiobook. And this one was only like 11 hours, maybe like 10 hours. So that sounded perfect. So it was available now from Libby. So I downloaded it and I listened to it. I think what I was doing was, you guys have not seen this on my channel yet, but I've decided that I'm going to now bedazzle books. She's a girl of a million hobbies. So I decided I was going to do that. And I needed some like background. I needed something like to keep my mind active while I just mindlessly put beads on a book. Okay. So that's what I was doing. And I was listening to this. And okay, in this book, we have Punjabi women they're over in London or in England somewhere. They are in their community center. There is a writing class that opens up. And well, let me back up. Hold on. So there is a woman. She's Punjabi, and she is more of like a modern Punjabi woman. And, she's kind of like disappointing her family, like by making the choices that she's making. She's working as like a bartender. And obviously her parents are like not down for that. And there's lots of interesting like cultural things that are happening within the story. But the main crux of the story is that she ends up taking a job at like the church, like the cultural center. She takes this job as a creative writing teacher. Now, does she have the credentials to teach creative writing? Absolutely not. But she's got the audacity to apply for the job. She's got the gusto to go for it anyway. As it turns out, when her first class happens, when the students arrive, there are a bunch of like older widowed women in the Punjabi community, and they can't actually write creative stories because they can't read or write. And she's like, "You want me to teach them the ABCs? Like, my G, what do you mean?" So it becomes this like very interesting, like, what are we supposed to do here sort of situation. And her boss, in no uncertain terms, is like, "Figure it out, bestie. You're the one who's a teacher." And she's like, "No, I'm not. I'm literally a bartender who needed more money." So one thing happens and the next thing happens. And basically what happens is the women, these widowed women in this creative writing class, start writing erotic stories. They actually are dictating them to the one girl in the class who can read and write. And then at some point, they start dictating them into a recorder and they start sharing these stories with each other. And it's like this kind of like discovery moment where they're all discovering like, oh, like you like to have sex too. Like this is totally normal. And we just never knew it because it's such a conservative culture. Nobody ever talks about it. This is not unique to their culture. It is a thing that happens in a lot of places. I mean, even in America, I mean, like this is built on puritanical beliefs. We have the belief that this is a Christian nation, even though we were basically founded on freedom of religion. So it's not a unique situation to them, but I think it is a situation that the vast majority of women on the planet Earth can relate to. That being said, there are lots of funny moments in this book, and it's called Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows, and they do tell sexual stories. And it does have some graphic language in it, but it is not like, I don't know how to explain that. It is not like listening to one of these like raunchy romantasy books where he's there with like his 10 feet wingspan. And it's very like, maybe sensual is the word I'm looking for. It's just very soft and pleasant. Like it's not something that you would be like, what's the meme where it's like, God forbid I get in a car accident, I need someone to come and stop my audiobook. It's not like that. I mean, there's definitely sex talk because you hear the erotic stories that they have written or come up with. But it's just like, it's different. It's different. I don't know how else to explain it. It's different than your raunchy romantasy or romance books. It's just different. So I liked that they had, I like that they had this like journey of discovery of like, oh, this is totally normal. Oh, this is like natural for you to feel this way. And it's okay for us to love and celebrate and worship our bodies. It's okay for us to expect more out of our marriage. And in the stories that they're telling, they start making it where it's more of an equal relationship. So it's not just the woman has discovered these things. The men in their stories have like discovered that they like being able to please their wives and not just like wham, bam, thank you, man. And like, you go do the dishes. So I kind of like love that for them. I love that they had this, journey. And then our main character, the one who's like a fake teacher, but teaching, she has her own journey as well. And I enjoyed it. I did not personally relate to it. So I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the story of the group at large. But I thought that the book was nice. It was quaint. It was cute. I was a little bit bored by the book, if we're being honest. And I don't even know what to chalk that up to. I really don't know why I was bored. I just was. At a certain point, I had to like back it up a little bit because I was like, I'm not even paying attention to this. And I wasn't doing anything that like caused my mind to need to focus elsewhere. I just... I don't know what else to say. So like vibe wise, it was a 3 because I had a good time, but I was a little bit bored. It's a really nice multitasking book because you can follow the story and do your chores or do a craft or what have you. Okay, y'all, I have saved the very best thing possible for last. Okay. I just finished this book yesterday and I am reeling. I finished this book so fast. In fact, like I didn't even know that I was going to finish it this quickly. And that is When the Tides Held the Moon by Venessa, Vida, Kelley. Now, let me tell you about this book. Okay. The first thing you need to know about this book is that it came out over the summer and I was desperate to go find this. Okay. I was stalking Vanessa's Instagram and she was in my town and she was going around to the Barnes and Nobles and she was signing this book and she was doodling artwork in the book. I was like, every time she posted about this at a different B&N, I was in the car on the road trying to go get these. Unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to find one of those lovely doodled in books and I'm sad about it. I'm really sad about it actually because I wanted one of those, but here we are. Venessa Vida Kelley is an artist herself. She is an illustrator, drawer, whatever you want to call it. It's illustrator. She is an illustrator. And so the second thing you need to know about this book is that there are drawings in this book and she drew them herself. The third thing you need to know about this book is that this book is incredible. It was beautiful on like every imaginable level. Like if you can think about the words, you can think about the people, you can think about the plot, you can think about the love story, you can think about the drawing, you can think about just the way the book itself was put together. And every single one of those categories gets a beautiful mark. They all get a 5. This book was beautiful. Like I don't even know what else to say. So what happens in this book? We have Benny and Rio as our main characters. They're both of the male persuasion. Benny is do you immigrate from Puerto Rico? I don't really know how that works. You can't actually immigrate from Puerto Rico, right? Because like Puerto Rico, we own it's us. Benny has come over from Puerto Rico right after Puerto Rico gained its independence. And he arrives in New York City and is here to like make a better life for himself. And he ends up being a blacksmith and he is commissioned to build this indestructible glass cage. And so he does. And when the guy who commissioned this cage comes to pick it up, Benny is there to kind of like tell him, like Benny's boss basically tries to be like, oh yeah, I did this. And the guy who ordered the cage like asks questions and the boss like can't answer them. Like imagine that, right? So Benny's like, yeah, so what you're gonna want to do is, and he like steps in. And so then the guy's like, obviously this guy built this, right? So whatever. And he kind of like gets one of his people to like drop a card. And so then Benny ends up getting fired from his job as a blacksmith, as an iron worker. And he goes and he kind of like runs into the people who ordered the cage, the tank. Well, they are like a sideshow, so a carnival of freaks, a freak show. That's what they do. That's what those people are. They have ordered this glass cage because they are going to go catch themselves a merman tonight. Okay. They go down to this place in New York and they're going to catch a merman. And it's like the full moon is out. Like it's a whole situation, right? Benny gets caught up in this. They catch the merman. They bring him back to the place where the carnival is going to be down on Coney Island. And one thing leads to another. And Benny ends up getting a job with this freak show. And he's like the handyman or whatever. And so as he's like spending the off season there, fixing up their theater, he basically becomes the caretaker of the merman. And of course your merman is like pissed. He's not having it. He's like not about to cooperate. And of course the guy who, I guess you would call him the ringmaster now. The ringmaster is like, basically like, you're going to perform for me because you're going to save my show. And the merman's like, I'm just not going to do that for you, boss. So Benny becomes his caretaker. He's the one who's like bringing him food and discovers that the merman can talk. And they develop the most gorgeous, the most breathtaking romance throughout this book. And essentially, you get to see Benny struggling with what do I do? Save myself or save him? Because if he saves the merman, whom he named Rio, if he saves Rio, it's going to spell devastation for himself, for Benny. And it's a real personal struggle for him. In the story, you have so many other aspects. There's an entire cast of characters that make up this found family aspect of the story. Absolutely stunning. And I mean, there's nothing, every single chapter has something in it that's just like, oh my God, whether we're focusing on the found family, whether we're focusing on the interpersonal relationships between all of the characters in the sideshow, whether we're focusing on Benny and Rio's relationship, if we're focusing on Benny's internal struggle, if we are like, it doesn't matter what we're focusing on in a particular chapter. It is just absolutely breathtaking. I don't even know what else I could say about this book. Let me just bestow some of this upon you. And I tabbed this book too. So I had a particular section where I was like, just the way that she chooses to write things and to write about things is so out of this world that like, it just kind of stops me in my tracks. Like there's not a real reason for some of it. Like you could just say something simple and plain, but Venessa chose to write it in such a way that just pulls you into this story. This is just half of a sentence. And it says, daylight change shifts with the night. That's something that's so simple, but that could have been written in 100 other ways. She could have just said, and then it was nighttime, right? But daylight change shifts with the night. Like that's like such a, oh my God, like that. And that's like page 36. So I was already being pulled into this book. I want to show you an example of some of the artwork. It's giving major found family vibes. Like I'm telling you, incredible. More examples of her language. His hunched shoulders outlined in cold, filtered sunlight. That's just such a beautiful way to say that. Like we're talking about a shadow. You could have just said his shadow. I told you they're at Coney Island, right? Like, look at that. Look at that. That's just beautiful. It's incredible to witness. I am like, you guys. So I told you I tabbed this book, and one of the tabs in here, I have it like in my key, in my legend, I have it named Devastating Love. And it's not always romantic love that was tabbed under the Devastating Love tab. This book, if you do nothing else, if you listen to nothing else that I tell you on this channel ever, go get this book and read it. I can't believe that you won't have a good time. I mean, needless to say, the vibes were 5. This book was incredible, impeccable. It is at the top of the list. Now, listen, it's only January, but I have a feeling this one's going to be a contender for book of the year for me. And I'm a little bit ticked that I didn't read it last year when I picked it up, although maybe not, because I am excited and happy and thrilled by the book that I did put as my book of the year for 2025. So I think I would have had a really difficult time if I had also read this in 2025, deciding what was going to be book of the year last year. So I think I read it at the right time. And I think that I was in the right headspace to take this in. And I am just still blown away by this book. Venessa Vida Kelley did her thing with this book. What do the kids say now? This book fucks. That's what they say. Listen, absolutely. I understand the phrase because of this book. So anyway, those are the books that I've read since our last episode of Friday Night Lit. I'm curious if you've read any of these, and if you did, what you thought about them. I'm also curious to know what you drank tonight. Let me know in the comments. I'm always looking for drink inspirations. I do drink mocktails. You want to drink a cocktail? That's fine. I need a mocktail recipe. Okay. So let me know. What have you been reading? Have you read any of these? And when are you going to pick up When the Tides Held the Moon? And let me just say one last thing about that book. When I got to the point of the book where I fully understood what the title meant, my heart left out of my body in the best, most beautiful way imaginable. I'm literally having a love affair with this book. It was that good, yo. So anyway, when are you going to pick it up and read it? That is my question to you. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this up now because I feel like I've been yapping all night. Thank you for joining me for Friday Night Lit. for having a little drink with me, for hanging out with me downstairs in my living room. Oh, where is our guest star from last time? Here's Bob. Bob, who ruined the entire frame of the video last time by making the camera. I think it's doing it right now, isn't it? It's focusing on him instead of me, even though I'm clearly the star of the show. You work for me, camera. You need to focus on me, not Bob. Okay. Anyway, Bob and I would like to thank you for hanging out with us. And Bob says that you have to hit the like button or he's going to ruin all the rest of my videos for the rest of the time. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you here in a fortnight. Yeah? Okay. All right.